All right, we'll start it off. Congratulations on Kelowna being named the host of the 2026 Memorial Cup. What was your reaction to the news?
Well, it's just great for the city, the organization. A lot of work has to go into the bid committee. Obviously, the Hamilton family that's been around for a long time. We got it taken away, obviously, in 2020, a lot of build up for it. Now I think we've learned from it as well to make it probably a better experience. In Kelowna in May, you can't beat it.
You got to deliver the news to your team over Zoom this morning with them in the States on their road trip right now. What was it like being able to share that with the guys?
Yeah, it's an exciting time. There's a lot of guys in that room that are going to be a part of it. We talked about it at the beginning of the season as we were putting that bid in. So I think it's also a little bittersweet because at the same time we're going to have to build. We're going to have some additions, and in order to do that, I think some of our players most likely are going to have to be traded away. And I think guys realize that, but at the end of the day, we're building for the future and this Memorial Cup. But I think all through and through our guys were really excited. But it's tough as well. They've got a game in hand to worry about in Portland.
There were a lot of strong bids this time around. What do you think set Kelowna's apart?
Yeah, I think all the bids were great and have really good positives to each city. I think, again, us not having it in 2020, I think played a little bit into it, but our bid committee was confident in, the roster that we have and are able to build around and add to. And I alluded to Kelowna in May is great. I also think that the city's backing, financially to improve and make the necessary improvements to our building to make it even a better experience is really positive. So, Kelowna is going to be bumping. I was around for the 2004. I can only imagine what it's going to be like now.
Maybe see it come in on a jet ski?
Yeah, no, highly unlikely. But we'll have a lot of alumni there, proud alumni. We'll have an excited city, and it, again, will be really, really good for everybody involved.
Because you were in the CHL in 2004?
Oh, yeah, it might have been somewhere there. I just remember up in Manhattan Point with at least 15 alumni that we went down on the ice. It was pretty cool. And I'm friends with a lot of those players that were able to lift the cup. Josh Georges, Shea Weber, Blake Como. There's a lot of the guys that spent some serious time in Kelowna, and a lot still live there that I was able to forge some relationships with.
Take me back to March 2020. What was the feeling within the organization at that time when the sort of news came out and you guys realized it wasn't going to go your way?
I think it was like everybody else. Like, we thought it was just a 2-week break, right? Like, realistically, I can remember it. Rudy Gobert, he's got, sitting at the podium, us in our coach's office. If you know Kelowna's coach's office, it's pretty tight. And we just thought it was a 2-week thing, and we'd be back playing and finish the season. And yeah, it just became 2 weeks and a month, and then nothing. And yeah, it was hard, and it was hard for our organization as well because we gave up quite a few assets to try and build that team, and the following season not being able to recoup that, with a couple 19-year-olds that would have been able to help us stock the shelves it's made for some difficult times in Kelowna over these last few years, and we're slowly coming out of it. And this year in particular, we've got some good youth on our team. We've obviously got some older players that have been with me in particular for 3 or 4 years, and they're very good. So yeah, that was heartbreaking for everybody because it was a lot of work up until almost that end of the year. So tough for everybody. Really, really happy that we're getting another crack at it.
Well, maybe a chance to get to compete for it before you host it?
Well, we're not where we want to be right now in Kelowna. That's, I'll be perfectly honest, and we do have a team that has some definite firepower. I think that we're underachieving, and I think that, we've got a lot of time left still. We're going to compete, and when we start playing some consistent hockey, I think we're going to show some teams that, we got off to a slow start, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
And even just being on the bench, not as a head coach, but on the bench for the last time Kelowna went to the Memorial Cup, what did that teach you about how hard it is to find success at that tournament?
Well, it's a game of inches. I mean, if you were to go back to the final game against Oshawa, I was talking to their owner today about how many chances we had to put that game away. And, goaltending was stellar then when it needed to be. And a young Anthony Cirelli, who probably played 4 or 5 minutes of that game, comes out and is a hero. One mistake, it's in the back of your net. So understanding how you almost have to play a perfect game. But in that tournament as well, you have to win one that gives you a chance to get and to at least play in that semifinal. So we were fortunate to win quite a few games in that one, but nonetheless, it's short. You've got to be dialed, and you've got to be able to play at least in that tiebreaker to give yourself a chance.
And maybe a little bit of an advantage too, because obviously you never know how far you'll go in playoffs, but there's always the chance that you pull a Regina Pats and you end up with quite a bit of rest heading into that tournament.
Yeah, you've seen it. Obviously, St. John, Regina. There are teams that have, been able to do it. Rest is a weapon, but at the same time, going through that war, because it is the hardest trophy to win. Much like the Stanley Cup, it is a tough trophy to win. You've got to go through a lot of rounds, a lot of teams. You've got to try and stay healthy. Everything has to align. So, we would love to do it the right way, but I don't have a crystal ball to tell you whether or not that's going to happen.